Did you know that fonts have moods and emotions? Well, keep watching and we'll talk about it. Welcome to part 2 of Fonts and Text in Canva. If you missed the first one, be sure to check that one out if you need to learn the basics of all the fonts and text in Canva. Otherwise, let's dive in to learn how we can take boring old text and turn it into attention-grabbing designs. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is font pairings. One of the most basic ways to use fonts in your designs is to pair it with another one. That kind of adds a little bit of excitement, a little bit of variety, and not all fonts look good together. So we're going to kind of dive into some of the basics. So I have 3 tips for you. So tip number 1, opposites attract. If you use a bold, chunky font, you're going to want to use a thinner font to pair with it. If you use a font that's really close together, then you might want to pair it with one that's really spaced far apart. If you use a really tall font, then you might want to pair it with like a really squatty font. If you're not sure what to pair it with, start with the opposite. Tip number 2 is to use one font, but use different styles of it. And what I am calling styles, I'm talking about you can use a different color, you can make it italics, or you can use one of the effects in Canva, like making one hollow and one filled in. Tip number 3 is less is more. Try only using 2, maybe 3 fonts depending on what you're designing. Of course, that will depend on what you're designing. Some designs may need more than 3, but just for our purposes, less is more. 2 or 3 fonts, stick with that and you're gonna be playing it pretty safe. So how do we go from staring at this blank screen here that we have to a really captivating design? A good place to start is by determining the mood of your design. What I mean by that is a certain font can make you feel a certain way. Think about it. You can have the exact same words typed out, but when you change the font, it can make you feel completely different. So let's take the phrase, "I like your eyes." And if we put it in this font, have like a more lighter mood, feels more like a compliment, maybe a little playful, versus this font, and it comes off really creepy because we chose a creepy font. So the font you choose is very important in getting the right emotion across. So back to our blank screen. Once we know what mood we want our design to be, we can pick a font that matches that. Let's pretend we're a business. At our business, we sell water bottles, and we want to create a social media post that is going to inspire and encourage people to drink more water. So we're gonna keep it super, super simple, and we're just gonna go with a simple quote. So I have a quote here. As you can see, I just typed it with a very basic text. There's nothing fancy about it, and it's just kind of boring and blah. So let's fix that. So step 1 is to think about the mood we want, right? I just talked about that. Since we're wanting it to be encouraging, we want it to maybe be something more relaxing, something inspirational, and something kind of light and airy. So what you can do is you can click on it, and then you click on the font up at the top, and we have all these different options over here. So a really quick tip that you can do in Canva is you can utilize the search bar at the top. So since we're wanting something light and airy, I'm thinking maybe a thin font. So I'm just gonna type in thin and see what comes up. You can just click through until you find one that you like. So there we go, we have our thinner font. Already it's feeling better. It's feeling better than this one, right? It feels lighter, it doesn't feel as heavy. So I actually really like this font in particular because it has the little feet. As you can see, it has like little feet here. So like the little lines at the end. So these are called serifs. And serifs kind of tend to give a more authoritative and kind of literary feel. So here's what it looks like with the serifs and without the serifs. You see, this doesn't have the little lines at the bottom and on the little edges of the text, whereas this top one, it does. When I look at this, I just feel like that top one does kind of have more of that literary authority. Maybe I sound crazy to you, I don't know, but that's just what I see, that's what I feel. So I personally like this font better for this particular design. So I'm gonna start breaking it into smaller pieces so that I can begin applying different fonts, effects, and different colors and all the fun stuff to just really bring it alive and make it a design instead of just text on a page. The way you can do that, the easy way you can do that, is you just take it, you hit Control D, and it will duplicate it for you. So I'm gonna go to that first one, and I'm just gonna separate it, maybe just by each line at first, and we can always change it. We can always combine lines or separate them again. This is just giving me a starting point since I don't have an idea of what I wanna do yet. It's just a starting point, okay? So I'm just going to duplicate this one again. And this time I'm gonna take out the top line and the bottom line. For this particular design, remember that the purpose of it is to encourage people to drink water. So we want our emphasis to be on water. We also want to put what we know about font pairings to use. So let's start by choosing a different font for the word water. First, I'm gonna just make water bigger, make it more prominent so that we know, hey, this is our emphasis, it's water. Then, since we also want to put what we know about font pairings, our 3 top tips, we want to include that in our design. So tip number 1 was opposites attract. So we have a really thin font here. So we could go with something really bold. We also have a kind of tall font, so we could go with something really short as well. But I think what I'm gonna do is, since we have a very straight and structured font, I'm gonna go with a loose handwritten font, okay? So I'm gonna do that for this word without. I like this font, not just because it's my name, but I really like the look of this font. And since we have the word without here twice, I'm just gonna delete this one and use the same font. So we're already looking better, right? So here's where we were, and here's where we are now. It's already looking better. It's got more style. It's much more interesting to look at. It's drawing our audience's attention little by little. So let's keep going and see if we can make it even better. So our tip number 2 is, when you have the same font, you can do different styles. So already we made the water bigger, but I want to take it a step further. Let's click on effects and see what kind of cool effects we can do to make it different than these other lines. I'm gonna click on splice, and that makes it more prominent. I also want to change the color to maybe a dark blue. Maybe we'll change this color here. This color is this line behind it. So I want to change that maybe to like a light blue. I want to make these just a little bit smaller because we want our emphasis to be on the water. I think we're looking better and better with each step, so we're making progress. That's good. We don't really care who said this. Like, I know that sounds bad, but honestly, our focus is on the quote itself and on water. So we're gonna just make this really small so that's there, but it's not our focus at all. I think what we need to do is make sure everything is lined up. So I'm gonna click and drag down to select everything, and you can see it puts the little boxes around it to let me know what I'm grabbing. And then I'm gonna go up here to the position, and it's gonna open up on the left, and I'm gonna click center so that they all center with one another. Now there's these neat little tools over here that will space your elements out evenly. So we can do vertically and it'll space them out evenly vertically, or we can do it horizontally and it'll space them out evenly this way. So we're just gonna do vertically. It did bump those a little, so now they're all evenly spaced apart. Now something I will say is, because this particular font, the T's go way lower, it doesn't necessarily look like it's the same amount of space between these. So I'm just gonna bump that up a little bit just so that it actually visually looks a little more centered. So another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on the without, and I'm gonna click on the spacing, and I just want to space the letters out just a little bit. So I think that looks good. And so really all you do is you just play around and see what you like and what you don't like. If I didn't like that spaced out, I just put it back. But because I tried it, now I know, right? At this point, I like what my text is doing. And remember, less is more. So we don't have to go all crazy. We don't have to add a whole bunch of effects and a whole bunch of fonts. This already looks better than this, right? Like, No, it may not be perfect, but this isn't a course on graphic design. We're just using some basics to just make our designs a little bit better than boring old text. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some elements to visually complete the look. First, I think I'm gonna put a background color, and I think that I want to do a gradient. So if you don't know how to do a gradient, you click on the add new color, and when this box pops up, it says solid color or it says gradient. So we're just gonna click on gradient, and it shows gradient colors, then the style. So if you look at our design, when I click on these different ones, you can see it changes the direction of the gradient. Then I'm gonna go back up to my colors, and I think I'm gonna add maybe a light yellow to go with the blue. And you can also change the transparency, so we can have it be like a very light yellow. I'm just gonna add a simple border. So I'm just gonna hit the letter R on my keyboard, and it's gonna pop a rectangle in there. I'm gonna come up to the top. I'm gonna make it have no fill, and then I'm going to add the stroke and the border weight. I'm gonna drop that down to 1, which is as low as we can go. And I'm gonna change the color to the same color that we have on the font down here on the water. And then I'm just going to fit that to our design. I'm gonna try and make it equally spaced all the way around. And then the last thing I wanna do is I just wanna add some sort of element. So I'm gonna type in water. I'm gonna just look and see what we have. I actually like this little wave looking thing. I'm gonna put it around the word water. So we're just gonna play around with the size, with the colors, with the transparency until we come up with something we want. I think I want to just have like a hint of it, a hint of water flowing there. I think that that looks good. Think of your mood, think of the purpose of your design, and go from there. Play around with it, use the Canva tools at your disposal. Everybody's gonna be using the templates because that's easy. So if you really want to stand out, then I highly recommend giving it a shot. Try designing, see what you can come up with. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Brittany, and I make tutorials to help you step away from the cookie cutter templates that everybody else is using so that you can stand out from the crowd and create attention-grabbing designs that are unique to you and your business. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.